Wow, the triple Ric Flair right there. Did you guys see Ric Flair I think he was smoking weed with Mike Tyson outside of some bar or something this weekend?
Fun.
Least surprising thing of all time.
Yeah, seriously, though.
It's kind of amazing, actually. Ric Flair admitted that in his last ever match, he's like 75 years old or something, and I did watch a bunch of clips of it. He wore a T-shirt during the match because, he's 75, but he admitted that he passed out twice during the match. I was wondering, a couple of the clips I saw, and he was like... like usually when you take a punch in wrestling, you sell it, right? You sell it to the audience. And he was just like laying there motionless while opponents were trying to work around him.
The faking the heart attack in front of his daughter and wife was easily the most peak Ric Flair thing ever to do.
That actually may have been a real heart attack.
But yeah, it actually might have been. Oh, God.
So anyhow, all right, let's bring him in here for the first time during this regular season. He is the most passionate Vikings fan we know. You can follow him on Twitter at Randy Vikes 69. Randy in Cottage Grove. He is a mock draft expert that has correctly predicted a small handful of Vikings draft picks over the last few seasons. Randy in Cottage Grove. What's going on, man?
Hey, good. What's going on? I 1-0. We knew that would happen, but we were satisfied with the results and snug, very snug about it.
Yeah. Well, we're usually we do the stud stable or the dud stable earlier in the week here, and so we're pumped to have you here.
Why couldn't I do it Tuesday? You shut me down on Tuesday.
Well, yeah, that's because in our direct message you told me that you couldn't cut it down to just 3 studs, and
Did you watch the game?
I was very high on the game result. Yes, It was great.
So you say you like can't come on if I can not keep it to 3. How are you going to keep that to 3? I mean,
well, just a reminder that when we brought you on to do your preseason stud stable, you just started reading the 53-man roster in alphabetical order and named everyone.
Looked pretty good, didn't they? Looked pretty good. Every guy who by the way, I kept reading it even after you cut me off because I went through the whole list and they performed. They know when the lights are on, and when you get in the stable, it's not just you're not gravy train after that. Then you've got some expectations on you, and they lived up to them, and we were all happy. We did a new thing this year too, which was called a sack shot. So you don't just do touchdown shots anymore. Now it's a sack shot. And
a sack shot. Okay, that was something totally different.
Yeah, me too. When I was a kid. Yeah.
So you're drinking shots every time the Vikings sack the opposing quarterback. So you drank 4 shots. Aaron Rodgers sacked 4 times for the first time in years.
What type of shots?
It's all Yag, same as Yag, or my friend who likes Rumpy, which is good too. It's refreshing, but I'm a Yag guy, and we like to there's make no secret. The week is we put the work in on the week, but the game day is when we do cut loose, and when they produce a result like that, it's pretty hard not to get lubed up pretty quick.
No, I think it'd be great we should join Randy for one of these.
Do you recall the game? Like how much before you blacked out? Third quarter?
Jeff, I'm what they call a seasoned drinker, and we know you know how to ride a good buzz. If you can ride a good buzz for hours, and you can come in for a landing and then do it again.
Yeah, Jeff.
Come in for a landing like a nap? What
a
Jaeger
buzz. I've never had that before. I've only thrown up and passed out.
Jaeger, you haven't had them. The Jag you've been having is not cold enough because it has to come from either a freezer or a Jaegerator. Well, I have a friend who puts his Jaegerator in the freezer for sort of extra cold. But Jaegers, if you already got the Chill Boys giving me money, thank you. I haven't seen that yet. But if you want to get Jag going too, we could get Jag as a sponsor. Go ahead.
We should make a phone call on Jag. Let's do it. Listen, we've got some good momentum going at Score North here. Purple Daily, Mackey, and Judd. I think maybe we can find Randy an official sponsor. Put some scratch in your pocket. Listen, I didn't want to like offend you. The reason why we don't have all day here on this podcast. We got to keep things moving. So maybe what we could do to compromise is you give us every week your 3, maybe sometimes 4 if you have a bonus stud or a bonus dud. And then if you have a bunch of other ones,
there's not going to be many duds this year.
Yeah, I think based on the first week, you're probably correct. But I think maybe then we can just use your Twitter account. If you've got like 20 other guys you want to mention, then you could just list them on Twitter, and then we can retweet you or something. How about that? Is that a good compromise?
So you just want like a stud, a super stud, and then the super duper stud of the week?
Yep. And then maybe once in a while, if you have a bonus, someone that you just can't forget to mention, maybe you can stretch it to 4. But I think that's the compromise here.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. All right, here it is. We fire up the music. This is Randy in Cottage Grove's Week 1 stud stable for the Minnesota Vikings.
This is a Week 1 victory, decisive victory, no doubt, a no doubter, as they say, against the sort of a half-rate squad from down 94 East. This is starts out. This stable will start with I guess just 3 guys. So here's the stud, and this guy needs no introduction to Packer fans, but he's gonna fit in real well over here. He had us all pretty snug. He was wreaking a little bit of havoc. And he's got that motor. He's got what you want is that high energy guy. He's gonna bring that every single week. And I'm talking about Zalarius Smith. Zalarius, you were out and you were moving and you were grooving, and the way that you crawl and do that crawl kind of takes me back to old number 69 with the calf rope. Again, we love it, and then we started doing it in the bar. So Zalarius, this week you're a stud.
Wow. You were crawling on the tiles in the bar?
That might be dirty.
Crawling, and one guy was woofing like a dog. You guys, this team wills its the team marches on the back of its fans. I hope you know that.
All right, Zalarius Smith. All right, great game for Zalarius Smith.
Great addition. Number 2, stud. We're gonna switch it over to the offense. How are you not gonna mention a guy like this who just continues to put the league on notice? He's the Aaron Rodgers told him after the game, "You're the best out there." I think he meant in the world, and he is. This is number 18. He's freaky. He's fast, and he got us all rocking and rolling, and got a couple of touchdown shots. Should have been a third one if you ask me. But this week you are a super stud, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, dude. Hard to argue. I mean, the only argument here would be, how is he not the super duper stud? I'm curious to know who on that field made more of an impact than. By the way, did you guys see that Saquon Barkley was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week?
That's bogus.
He had a great game, but
yeah.
And they mentioned in the write-up on NFL's little graphic that it was he had the 2-point conversion to win the game. It's like, well, the Vikings won the game with a barrage of offense.
They're sleeping on the Vikings
in the first
guys.
45 minutes. Okay,
they're sleeping on the Vikings. Let them do it.
Keep sleeping. That's right.
And finally, this is the top spot in this stable. Once again, could have been a lot more guys, but this is a guy who is after the game. A lot of people were heaping a whole lot of praise on the players, and they deserve it. But this is a guy who I'm going to give him his first appearance in this stable, and I don't think it'll be the last. I'd like to welcome him to Minnesota. I'd like to welcome him to a 1-0. Thank you for the big W. And he's going to go 2-0 on Monday night, but we will be at the bar for that, by the way. And he's going to be a guy who's going to be here a long time, and a lot of ladies like him too. And why not? And the way he runs up that offense and gets everybody zigging and zagging and all the levels, there's going to be a lot more fun to come. All right. So, Kevin O'Connell, you are a super duper stud.
Yes. Let's get it. Randy.
It just dropped.
Randy
dropped.
Where did he go?
I think he's upset that you have put your thumb, Phil, on him.
Well, I don't think he was upset. I think he's gotten him. He used to call into our old radio show, and he would get upset and hang up on us.
Yeah.
But I think it's now just become his thing. It's like the mic drop, or
I think he wants to do like 18 guys though now.
Yeah, he does. I feel like I don't think he left in anger there though. I just feel like I would like a little byplay there. Just be able to throw a question at him, and but I guess if the mic drop is going to be his thing, then well.
I was really thinking that at some point in time for one of those three, there would at least be a Greg Joseph mention.
Well, there probably would have been.
I mean,
but
Randy
we
being
only gave him
Randy.
3 spots. You know,
56
who,
yard
or
field.
who are you bumping out of the stud, super duper stud for Greg Joseph?
That's not for me to say.
Are you
That's not for
bumping?
me
You're
to-
bumping Zalarius out?
Should we tell him
No.
Hilarious.
at some point in time? Should we explain to him?
Randy he's a Zalarius guy. That Randy. And I the Saquon Barkley thing. It's just like, okay, Justin Jefferson just went for 184, 2 touchdowns, and it was against one of the best secondaries in the NFL. But because the Giants
New York
pulled an upset over the Titans, and they're the Giants.
Players of the week might be the most stupid thing in sports. Like who?
Why?
Like
Why can't
the
we
Players of the
award?
Week,
Get it right.
sponsored
If you
by
get it right.
FedEx. The Players of the Week. These are your Players of the Week.
Does anyone take their
always
player of the
annoyed
week?
me.
Do they get like a plaque or something? Like does
I think they
Saquon
do.
Barkley get some sort of medal? What does he get for that?
Like Jefferson got that like Nickelodeon thing.
But that's
Does he
cooler.
keep I like that.
I like
thing.
that
I like
more.
that more. Yeah.
What was that award?
It was the Nickelodeon, like, because Nickelodeon, you know, is with CBS now and Viacom, so like they're part of the NFL, so it was like the Nickelodeon Player of the Week, essentially. Like,
Okay.
like it was their version of the.
And they send the
award.
slime, which is awesome.
Yeah, I like the slime.
Do kids vote on that award, or is it
Yes,
corporate
I believe
executives
so.
from?
I
okay.
think it's a
corporate
kids vote.
exec-
Yes.
It's guys named Mel.
It's grown up Doug Funny and Patty
Yeah.
Mayonnaise now.
Yeah.
Actually, that vote on that. Or it's the Rugrats are adults now, and they love football.
Tommy Pickles just is a big Justin Jefferson
I'd like to
fan.
weigh in here for
Chucky
say,
Finster, dude. Chucky
Yeah,
Finster.
Chucky Finster, more of a Saquon guy.
I'd like
Phil
to-
and
yeah.
Lil, Phil and Lil
Phil
love
and Lil. Yeah.
big fans of who are the twins who played the Giants guy, Tiki and Rondé Barber. That's Phil and
Yeah.
Lil's favorite players.
I'd like to make the case for Saquon Barkley, please.
Well, he does have big thighs and has been irrelevant for a couple years. So maybe it was the shock of Saquon Barkley doing something and not getting hurt. Should we get into some old tweets exposed
Yeah.
here on Mackey and Judd? On the every single Thursday, Declan goes into the archives and finds incriminating tweets. And this week's edition of Old Tweets Exposed is presented by our friends at Spiral Light Candles. Judd.
That's right. And look, this is a great candle for a gift. So you got mom's birthday or girlfriend or wife. But if you are a Vikings fan, I'm going to tell you right now, available now for your game day pleasure, it is Judd's Purple Positivity candle from our friends at Spiral Light. And this beauty can cause, first of all, it's got a great aroma, so it will cause you to be very relaxed. Watch the game in a relaxed, meditative state where you won't get too upset. But if good things happen, it's good luck as well. You can get it spirallightcandles.com. Spirallightcandles.com. Whether a gift for someone else or yourself, go to spirallightcandles.com and check out all of their offerings.
Love it. Yes. Watch the game in meditative peace. And if the
meditative
Vikings
state.
offense, if the offense keeps playing like that, the candle will be helpful, but you may not even need it. But there's plenty of other reasons to get Spiral Light candles as well. All right, old tweets exposed here as I close my eyes halfway.
So, Old Tweets Exposed, Nathaniel Hackett edition. I wanted to actually, we did a full Purple Daily episode on the idea of Nathaniel Hackett and
We're just going to rerun
behind-
that right now. Actually,
Well, that's what I would wanted to do. Behind the scenes curtain for the audience, the executive producer now leads the COVID tally on Mackey and Judd, his second positive test since the
Congrats.
pandemic. So I wasn't able to cut up the highlights I'd wanted to from that, but we still have tweets. We still have actual tweets from this. So I'm actually going to start with my tweet because it then starts a string of tweets from both of you. So I'll start with my Nathaniel Hackett tweet. This was sometime in March. I'll scroll down to the date here in a minute, but I said, Hackett seems like such an honest and relatable dude. No crusty or I'm smarter than you attitude, but just a genuine guy. And judging how he handled the last 60 seconds of the week 1 with the Broncos and the Seahawks, yeah, I think Nathaniel Hackett actually is a pretty genuine, normal guy because he had no idea what to do in the last 60 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think this is incriminating. I think that these things are correct about him. He does seem like a good, relatable guy. He apologized on Tuesday, so he sort of humbled himself in front of the media and the fans. So yeah, those are the positive qualities about Nathaniel Hackett that I'm sure teams picked up on in the interview process.
So then Phil Mackey took that tweet that I wrote and then quote tweeted it and said, "Watch this Nathaniel Hackett press conference. Then ask, who would Kirk Cousins or any quarterback benefit from working with more, Mike Zimmer or Nathaniel Hackett?"
Again, I do stand by this. I think if that's the question in a vacuum, the answer is Nathaniel Hackett. Maybe as a coordinator or a quarterback's coach, maybe not as a head coach. But if the choices are Mike Zimmer, Nathaniel, now if you would have put Kevin O'Connell up there too, then this would have been highly incriminating.
And then Judd Zolgad replies to the tweet and says, "Hackett looks like the ideal guy to develop a quarterback and mold him." And Phil says he got the best of Blake Bortles.
All
facts.
these things are true. Yes.
Yep. Nobody said he could manage a game. Nobody made that claim.
Or
And
take
that's
the
also
ball.
one of the things that you don't know. So that's
Right.
that's one of the things, like you can put a coach through some questioning and some testing and stuff, but
Correct.
there's something about the bullets flying and this classic example before we get to whatever Judd's incriminating tweet is.
It's this one. Hackett looks like the ideal
Oh,
guy
right
to
there.
develop
Okay.
a quarterback and mold him.
So I don't know. I feel like I don't know that any of us are in the wrong with these comments about Hackett. It's all the other stuff that you wouldn't know until you put a guy out there. And classic example. And how long have we been talking about this on our various shows throughout the last 8 or 9 years? These coaches spend tens of thousands of hours in their careers breaking down film, studying schemes, working on practice plans, all the football things, the in the trenches things, right? Play calling and whatever else. Do they spend anywhere near that amount of time figuring out when to call a timeout, what probabilities look like inside a minute, inside 2 minutes? I mean, at the end of the day, Nathaniel Hackett obviously had spent zero time thinking about game theory and strategy inside of 2 minutes because it's one of the dumbest decisions, no hyperbole, you'll ever see a head coach make.
Yeah, with Russ too, which is incredible. So here's my question. I don't know the answers from the Broncos' perspective. We do know it from Kevin O'Connell's perspective, though, is how do you get a head coaching job in 2022 and not bring along a game manager guy or gal? Like, that's the incredible thing to me. It's not the fact that you screw up, because like there is a lot to do and digest, and I get that. But if you don't have a person saying, here's what you need to do right now, and you're like, oh, I can do this. Right now, in this era of football, you're an idiot. Like, I think Kevin O'Connell's probably a very smart guy. And he immediately said, I'm not going to take all that on. I'm not going to try and like digest everything as it's happening in real time. I'm going to have a guy who's going to be in my ear about what we need to do. So if Nathaniel Hackett was like, you know what, George Payton, I got this. Game management, it's on me. You're really dumb. Like that would be a red flag right there. And perhaps the Broncos have a guy or gal who's just not good at it. I don't know, but it is weird. The other question that I got, and I sort of like it too, because it goes back to the terrible Bevel Super Bowl call that cost Seattle the game against the Patriots. If you're Russ, how do you stand there and allow Hackett to screw the pooch that badly at Russ's age and with Russ's experience? How do you not say, Nathaniel, look at me,
Dude,
we're gonna do this?
Yep, it feels a lot like we sat here and hammered Kirk Cousins for the same thing a year ago, right? Like, well, I don't call timeouts. Mike Zimmer calls timeouts. Bro, you're a 35-year-old, 10-year NFL veteran. You are the highest paid player on this team, one of the highest paid players in the league. This is your time to own the situation. And if you need to hash it out with your head coach behind the scenes, you like, however it needs to happen, you need control over timeouts in those situations. And Peyton Manning, ESPN put out the clip that he literally called timeout 62 times on TV as that clock was winding down. They counted he's like touching the T, making the T sign with his hand.
I don't know.
Yeah. And that's, go back and watch like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. They're not staring at the sideline paralyzed. They're running the 2-minute drill. And they are oftentimes waving off. How many times did Peyton Manning wave off a field goal unit? No, we are going for it right now. And I'm not saying that you have to have that kind of control. But yeah, I wondered the same thing about Russ. It's like, guy, you're like a borderline Hall of Famer, and you've won a Super Bowl, and you forced your way out of Seattle to have more control over things in Denver. Now, I didn't see all of Russ's quotes the day after or after the game, but he did say, "Yeah, we had a play dialed up, and we were like, I was calling the play." And so my guess is Hackett got into his headset and said, "Hey, don't run it. We're going to run the clock all the way down, then call a timeout." And so maybe Russell was so caught off guard and just wasn't like, so the coach is telling him something in his ear, and he's thinking, "Oh,
Maybe.
okay, I guess it might not," but. I mean, it was just think about what was decided there. We are going to attempt a field goal that only twice in history has been made,
Right.
ever.
Well,
Over a 4th and 5 with the guy that we just paid $250 million to like 2 weeks ago.
and the thing about it is, if you're Russ, I think you got to stop the clock. So like it's not that like you wait for the clock to run down and then debate it. I think when you see what Hackett is doing there, you call a timeout and go say, "What are you doing?"
But here's the thing. But this is what is going to sound crazy. If their decision was to kick a field goal, it was the right move to bleed the clock down, because if you make it, you don't
Correct.
want
That's what
them
I'm
to
saying.
have time left.
Is you stop.
So-
That's my point, though. If you're Russ, you stop Hackett from doing the right thing because the origin of the decision is wrong.
And then what is that? So let's say you call timeout, rightfully so, with 45 seconds left. And then you go to the sideline, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing? I wanted to run the clock down." Then
We're
you
gonna
can
run a
stare at him
play.
and say, well, "Why don't you explain that to me in 30 seconds right now? What were you going to try and do, guy?
Exactly. And we're going
Are
to run
you
a play.
serious?" Yes.
I'm Russell Bleepin Wilson. I'm the guy that cooks in this stadium. So
Yeah. It would be really, really hard to get on that team plane and to be in those team meetings now,
God.
knowing how incompetent your coach is in that moment of crisis. And yeah, it's the first game, and there's probably ways for him to get better, but he absolutely wilted and panicked in that moment. And it would be hard to look at him with the same respect level that you had 24 hours before.
agree
So-
completely.
Anyhow, old tweets exposed, launching a great little tirade there.
And not too bad.
No, I don't think. I think we're. I think
Not
all
really
three of us are
embarrassing.
kind of clear there. I think we're good. All of those things are true about Nathaniel Hackett. The things that we didn't know were, he freaks out when there's 50 seconds on the clock. So hopefully Kevin O'Connell and his designated game management coach. Oh, one other thing too, we make fun of the Twins for deciding things at 2:00 in the afternoon, before a night game, and giving their manager no say and feel. Some of those decisions that you make in the last 2 minutes of a football game should be decided in a meeting room like 4 days beforehand or before the season. You should know before the game. Okay, and this is, I guess, I've never coached a football game in my life, but I'm the head coach, so I'm going to be immersed in a lot of things, and I'm calling offensive plays. So, game management guy, here's what you need to help me with. First of all, know what the range of my field goal kicker is. And that's the other thing. Hackett said he was making kicks from as far back as 64. So once we reached 64 yards, we knew we were in his range. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Before the game, Steph Curry was heaving shots from half court, and so he made one of them, and so that's the shot that we opted to take with the game on the line instead of getting a little bit closer for, I don't know, a more manageable three. But I want my game management coach to know before the game, before the season. Okay, here are the odds of making a field goal from this distance. Here are the odds of going for it and getting it on 4th and 5. Here's how many timeouts we have in every situation, and then you need to be in my ear telling me what you would do. Would any self-respecting game management coach walk up to Nathaniel Hackett and say, "Dude, bleed the clock to 20, and then let's kick a 64-yard field
Yeah.
goal"?
Yeah. Let's try and tie the second longest field goal in the history of this entire league in Seattle.
If it was in Denver, maybe, but even in Denver.
But it's Russell
dude,
Wilson, though.
Yeah, I know.
So like if it's Drew Lock, I might get it, right? Because you're like Drew Lock, 4th and 5. It's Russell. You went out and got him basically for this. Like that
Yes.
moment was his moment, and I don't know about this. Hey, Brandon McManus, can you make a 64? It makes no sense.
Yeah. And of course, the irony, too, of Russell Wilson, in part, wanted to get away from antiquated, old-school Pete Carroll and get with a more offensive-minded innovator. And at the end of the day, the offensive-minded innovator couldn't get out of his own way. Pete Carroll, maybe not the greatest clock manager guy, but because, he greenlit a passing play on the 1-yard line of
Yeah.
a Super Bowl.
Which
But even
Which
Pete
Russ
probably
also
didn't screw.
could have objected to. That's the interesting thing.
Yeah. He was so much younger then, though. It was like his second or third year in the league, wasn't it? So hard when you're like 23 years old versus 33 years old. So Anyways, Mackey and Judd, a Reckless Speculation Thursday, our friend Randy in Cottage Grove, and don't forget Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment over on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, and Vikings Vent Line right after Vikings Eagles on Monday night on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. See you guys tomorrow.